All right. Hey, welcome everybody. Hope you're having a great, what is it? Tuesday. I don't even know what time it is, man. I should have had my calendar checked. How are you doing today, Mike King?
I'm good. It's the Mike and Mike hour. Mike King, Mike Ashabraner here. The day after the day of the eclipse, a total eclipse of the heart.
Yes, sir. And I had to watch it on a piece of paper in the news because my wife didn't trust the glasses or something happened. And so, hey, whatever. Hey, at least I was here, man.
I was not allowed to look up all day. I didn't know, so I got the okay this morning that I can look up once again. But we are back. It's Mike King with the Hounds of Business here on ESPN Richmond 106.1. Here with my man Mike Ashabraner. He always comes with some outstanding members of the Hounds. Welcome back, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, I love this partnership, man. Going international, the Hounds hitting the local spots, man. It's PB and J. It's like peanut butter and jelly when they put it in the same jar, man. It was like 20 years ago, but I'm still mind blown. I'm still
You
talking
know,
about it.
I always loved the look of that when it was in the jar and it was new. It didn't seem the
It,
same once the action happened.
no, and you didn't have to refrigerate it, which I kept doing, and then that messed it up. So I'll tell you what, if you want to hear me rant about peanut butter, go to Wednesday, tomorrow's show. Today, we're going to bring on two extraordinary guys, heart centered. They created some really special innovations in the business, in publishing, and being an author. So without further ado, Mike, let's go ahead and run this. I appreciate our partnership. All your listeners out there, we really appreciate you guys. Let's get this party started and bring up the good people.
There you go.
Are you looking to grow your business and your mindset alongside a fun and awesome pack? Grab a chair and your favorite beverage and join Mike Ashabraner, the business mechanic, and his win-win network for the Hounds of Business Happy Hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On Mike and Mike King here in the Mike King Biz studio, part of the Hounds of Business community. So one of the things about the Hounds, it in hanging with Mike Ashabrainer, is it is a worldwide community, and we're bringing in talent from around the world. Sir, welcome to the program. Please tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Hey, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here. I am a publishing consultant. My name is Kofi Duhaji. I'm also author, published author myself, and my journey to publishing my first book, coupled with my executive coaching background, brought me to starting a publishing company that now helps authors, independent authors around the world put pens to paper, finger to keyboard, and publish their books.
Is it true that everybody has a book in them?
100%, because
A hundred
every
percent.
100%. But the challenge is not everybody is able to extract that book and put it out. That's where the challenge comes. And that's one of the things that we do at Flying Wings to help you, because anyone walking this planet who has been through life, no matter how long you've been on this planet, there are things in your journey that can make other people's life better.
When did you know that you wanted it to be a purpose-driven business model? That you it wasn't just a story that people had. You wanted to have an impact.
Yes, Mike, when I grew up in a very small village where life was limited to feeding your animals and feeding yourself and going to the farm, right? And we didn't have no electricity, so we weren't connected to the out world. But through books, I was able to learn and know about the world out there, and that got me dreaming. So I immediately, around 12 years old, started writing myself. Not only did I wanted to share the stories that my grandma told us around the campfire, but I also wanted to let people know about my village where I was growing up, just like how I was able to discover other people's lives and civilization and things of that nature through books. So since that time, I felt really grateful for the people who wrote the books that changed my life. And I wanted to be part of that group of people who opened a window onto the part of my world where not necessarily many people would know it was there's a place such as my village uh, during that time. So full circle, I published my book to achieve that goal. And then, because I have an executive coaching background, people started asking me, Kofi, hey, can you help me? I want to publish my book too. And from that, it started as I'm just helping friends. I'm just supporting friends publish their book. And that evolved into me growing the desire to support people who are writing from the heart to publish and make their messages and ideas available, because I just can't imagine my life without those books that have been published by other people that I get to benefit from. It's like depriving the world from that. And I just imagine if my best book, like the books that changed my life, if they were never published, how would it be for me? Because the value I got from them were so and are still so important that I want, for example, you, Mike, to be able to make your message available, because you may not know it today, but one day, somehow, it will find someone and change their life for good.
They always say it takes a village to raise a child. So you were sitting at the knee of the elders, your grandmother, older people. Now all of a sudden, you're that person to somebody else. You become the elder statesman about publishing and telling their story. What's that feel like?
I feel honored to serve in this capacity. And I also feel deeply grateful that despite the doubt, the fear and everything, I leaned into it. And now I'm able to stand on the shoulders of the giants that I've read, my grandma, my community, and the things I've been through. I've been able to be standing on the shoulders of all those great people to support other people. So I think it's a privilege, a blessing, I would say, to serve in this capacity. And I feel deeply humbled to be able to have the impact I'm having with independent authors.
All right, Kofi, how can people find information out there about you?
My wife will tell you, Mike, that I should be paying rent on LinkedIn. So you cannot miss me if you go to LinkedIn. But also, I'm also active on my own website, kofiduhaji.com.
Let me ask you. So when you write, are you a creative person outside of writing the book and inspiring others? Are you creative?
I I think I'm very creative. I view myself like a creative on many aspects, even how I approach entrepreneurship.
Okay, sir. So when you're writing a book or you're creating something, when do you know it's done? You're gonna
Wow.
stop. You're gonna stop fooling around with it, and you're gonna lay it down and say this project is done.
It's done. It's a decision.
Oh,
It's a decision. There's no time where it's done, but you decide this is good enough for me and good enough for the message I want to share with the world. Otherwise, you will be in this continuous cycle where you're, because there's always room for improvement if you're being honest. No book. If even if we take Shakespeare's work right now, we can still improve it in some aspect. So being done is a decision. You decide this meets my expectations enough to be released. And if we pay attention to most books, we have one, two, three, up to seven editions of some of the greatest books out there, which means the author is growing, the ideas are getting clearer and clearer. So you got to decide, yes, in 10 years, in 5 months, you can look back and say, I should have done this better. But you have to decide this is good enough to be shared with everybody. And then I can keep growing and keep working. So if you ask me, if it's to know when it's done, it's a decision you have to make as a creative.
I like that. I'd never heard it put like that before. It's a decision. So, as a writer, were you always a journaler? Once you started writing books, were you always the kid who would write things down? And if you do you go back and read it?
Yes, I've always written. I do a lot of journaling, and I believe great things happen to those who journal. And some of the details in my first book, Unbroken Optimist, are so detailed that people ask me, how can you possibly remember that happening to you at 13 years old? Because I wrote it down. And some of it, I think going back and reading some of it is scary, is very uncomfortable. You discover how your mindset on certain things have evolved. You feel very uncomfortable reading how your own writing was very, very amateur, and there's a lot of emotion and sometimes things you can celebrate too. But yeah, I've been always writing poems, books. I haven't started books until older, but used a lot of my journaling content to create more content that now have evolved into books.
All right, Kofi, where are you based out of?
We are in Papillion, Nebraska.
All right, there you go. All righty, so this is the Hounds of Business. We reached all the way from Richmond, Virginia to Nebraska, bringing the best and the brightest out there. People who are making a difference. The Hounds of Business. Mike Ashabraner. It is always great on a weekly basis, or every bi-weekly. We talk about what's happening in the world of business, landscaping from a worldwide perspective.
Yes, sir, Mike King. I appreciate you guys. What a great discussion. And just real quick, because I want other people to experience what we have to offer. Right. It's real simple, guys. We're taking high level, heart centered professionals, taking them from that competitive and rented space of social media, right? Putting them in a community of like minded people. Growing our business by farming and fishing, man, not hunting. That's what we're all about, Mike King. You know that. And so, real quick, how do we do it? We practice the Hound Pack principles, man. Kindergarten skills, sharing the crayons, collaborative power of publicity, and reciprocity. It's about nurturing those relationships that foster know, like, and trust, man. It's very profitable, too. We're the hounds of business, right? You know that. Not the hounds of just kumbaya and playing around. We get things done here, but we do so in a win 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 fashion. So, anyway, real quick, with just getting this out the way, because I want to make sure that we attract and bring in great folks like Kofi and all the people in the comments in the Hounds Live right now. Hey, you go to YouTube, Hounds of Business, LinkedIn, Hounds of Business YouTube, or you can go to my personal website, redneckfinancialcoach.com. Publicity hub. We love promoting people, getting great messages like it's out there, and just anything that you need to get unstuck and move that needle, guys. So scan that QR code, check out the page. We need more people like this yesterday. We can make a huge impact in the world together if we keep coming together like this. So thank you, Kofi. Thank you, Mike. Keep on going, man. Second half. I love it.
All right, we're up to the second half. Kofi is back with us, straight out of Nebraska, talking business. So, Kofi, let's talk about the business landscape where you are. What's so as a coach, what do you see people out there lacking and missing these days?
The the most important thing I've experienced with the amazing individuals that I work with in the space of publishing and writing books is doubt in our own stories and the values they carry. um, it's like, my king, when if a fish could talk, a fish from the ocean could talk, you wouldn't see them being so hyped up about salt as human beings are, because they live in salt every day. They don't taste it anymore. And our own stories are the same. So most people are like, Kofi, you know what? My story is not that interesting. Almost 100% people don't think their own stories are interesting. And I argue with them. A tree doesn't consume its own fruit. Don't, so it's not the tree's place to tell you how the fruit tastes. But what the tree can do, though, is produce its fruit to the best of its ability, and let the people who are tasting and eating the fruit decide if they want more or they don't like it. So the best thing you can do is to make your message available and watch it come to life and have its own life. But uh, I would say that's the most that I've experienced with our authors when they first start the process with us, is that they lack that trust and that deep knowledge that my story may not mean much to me, but is also as valuable as anyone else's story, no matter how crazy or not it sounds to us.
So what's an engagement with Kofi look like? So I have, you said everybody has a book in them. I got a book in me. How do I work with you?
To work with us, human chemistry is real. Like, you don't necessarily are the best fit for everyone. So we start by seeing if we are the right fit to work together. And then once we align, I would say, regarding um, finance investment that's gonna go into your project, regarding everything, then we start with a first session where I just want to learn and know about your goal. Because one of the first requirement from us is that we don't want to make anyone right. We want people who have that intrinsic desire to write. So once that is on the table, we can get together and we have a working document that we send you. It's a bunch of questions, one after the other, that's gonna pull some of the stuff that we need to look at out of you, and you write that down. And then we are going to have sessions where we discuss your vision for the book. What are you trying to achieve? And then we are going to suggest angles from which you can take your story and share it in a way that serves others. And we just work as a team, progress after progress, to uh, get you settled. And then you start writing, and we accompany you. I coach you through the process, and then we have a manuscript, and then we get to go through the publishing process. But this is also a team effort. I may be the face of Flying Wings, but this is driven and piloted by many people who have way more experience than I do, who work with us. Some of our editors are story. One of our editors is a story developer for one of the major movie uh, franchises out there. So that's how we proceed to help our authors go from ideas to a published book.
So let me ask you about the on the coaching side. How does that work? How does that work with you on the coaching side?
On the coaching side, I believe there's no cookie cutters when it comes to human beings. So we work on a case by case basis, where I get to know my author. I get to know what they value. And That way I can be there and listen to them and tell them when they're being just full of themselves or when they're underestimating their own value and strengths. And I'm there to support and also be that honest and objective voice and also an accountability partner throughout the process. For example, if your story is hitting a point where we are just bragging or listing uh, an array of items that shows how much of achievement you have done throughout your life, I will be honest with you and tell you, hey, my king, here we are just boasting. We're not putting anything that's going to serve your readers, because at the end of the day, when it comes to books, the only thing that matters is what the reader takes with them after they've read the book. So throughout the coaching process, I make sure that we're not short selling anything and we are not also underestimating or undervaluing something that is important. So I help my authors go through that process.
All right, I think we have one of the authors here with us right now. Is that correct, Mike Ashabraner? One of Mike King Kofi is here with us. Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm actually Craig Williamson. I'm the author of Regarding Things That Matter. I have had a very deep, intense experience with Kofi, and we are in the process of releasing Regarding Things That Matter now. It's available on Amazon, and happy to answer any questions I can.
What type of battle scars do you have that you write a book with that name, sir? We just want to know.
Oh, battle scars, man! You're insightful, fellow. Well, I've had a whole bunch of blessings, and I've had a great life, and I've also had some trials. My father died, my mother died, and my son died, like back to back to back. It did give me pause and caused me to think about things that mattered, which led to this book.
So, as I had asked Kofi before, when you wrote the book, did you know when it was done?
So the chapter list in the book has everything you can imagine that's difficult: fatherhood, forgiveness, gratitude, freedom, sex, and intimacy. And so I kind of went bite by bite. And so you had to know when you were done with each bite, and then you had to know when you were done in total. And that's really a great question. You do get to a point where you know, but it's not an easy discovery, let's put it that way.
When you were you were going through pain, you were putting your pen to paper, you were putting your pain out there. What's it like when you go back and read what you wrote, knowing that it's different when I read your book and I read your pain and I go through that? It's different when you go back and you read what you had written. Talk about what that's like when you look at the words on the paper or hear those words.
Yeah, man, you are so brilliant. You should ask people questions. That's a good one too. I'm trying to get outside of myself. So a lot of the thesis of the book is outside of ourselves and how do we interact with the world in a way that we make a positive difference. And so when I look at what I wrote, it's less about how I feel and it's more about wondering how it'll be received and if it'll do good in the world and how and when and where. So it's much more externally focused after the creative process of writing is done.
Okay, what's the magic with working with Kofi and his team?
Well, Kofi, you may remember he said there's a human chemistry is a real thing, right? So for me, there was just a vibe with Kofi. It's like a couple of high school girls that don't talk in complete sentences but are communicating, right? It came easy, and so Kofi had a way to encourage me and guide me, but it was a super light touch. You know, he didn't whip me around, and so. It was just a really good chemistry thing. His process, it's amazing. It's like building a car. The number of steps are involved in writing a book, none of which I was familiar with. And so he protected me against all the back end putting things together. He kind of let me know what I needed to know when I needed to know it, and then we went on to the next thing. And so aside from the chemistry, that knowledge of the process and sparing me having to figure it out was huge.
How can people find information out about you and where to find your awesome book?
I'd be honored. So I have a website platform, CraigAWilliamson.com, and there'll be some background information and a peekaboo at the book, and it's actually some commentary from readers. And then obviously you can go to Amazon and put in my name, Craig A. Williamson, or type in regarding things that matter.
Craig, do writers write more than? Are you writing more than one book at a time, or when you start writing, you're going to write that one until it's done?
Man, how'd you get so good? How did you know that? So I've got 4 books, 5.
4 books.
And they're in. One is regarding things that matter is being released. The next one is going to be out probably in June, and I've got a couple more that I'm working on. So it was kind of like when I found Girls in High School. I got the one, and then I couldn't get enough after that. You just want one more after the other.
Sir, you spoke that just like a true therapist. That's exactly what it was. You didn't know until the day that you knew. Then all of a sudden, hey, this thing is pretty special. All right, Kofi. All right, Craig, we'd like to thank you for coming on the program. Kofi, one last time, how can people find you out there?
You can find me at kofiduhaji.com. Our publishing company is flyingwings.llc, and we are very active on social media, especially LinkedIn and Facebook.
Really quickly, Kofi, how did you come up with the name Flying Wings? That's what I need to touch on that one real quick.
Mike King, not wings can fly, not every bird that has a wing can fly. And when I was I'm very passionate about airplanes, and I do love flying for fun. And that went into the process of deciding for the name for the company. But the fact that I also was rejected by 8 different publishing houses before I published my first book, I wanted wings that can fly high enough that they can see me when I'm passing by.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kofi wins the knowledge drop of the day with that one. So you got rejected, and all of a sudden you're saying, hey, look at me, I'm flying high. That's what Mike Ashabraner brings to you with the Hounds of Business. Mike, another show. This right here is getting so good, I don't know what to say. We got Kofi, we got Craig, Mike Ashabraner. What else we got, my man?
Oh my gosh. And we had the fine folks in the background working all the hard, technical issues. I'm so glad Craig was able to make it. Again, you guys, you just have passion. You don't say no, and you figure it out. And we can do more together. That's the whole tenet of the pack. Let's pull resources, let's pull heart, and let's support each other. Right? Let's do some great things in the world. If we're doing better together, look, if millions of us was doing great and making money the heart-centered way, we could really make a dent in things that matter, man, like food insecurity, homelessness, mental health. That's our goal in the pack. So if you want to hang with high-level pros, make things happen, and leave a legacy, join these guys. Join all of us. That's what it is. So you can find us on Hounds of Business, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Carrier Pigeon, whatever. But hey, I appreciate these 2 guys. They're all heart. They seriously just want to put their message out there and change the daggone world. And we're behind that 110%. So Mike King, thank you for making it possible. Guys, appreciate you like no other.
Mike King, am I allowed to have quick couple of seconds?
Yes, sir, man. The floor is yours. Go ahead, man.
I want to invite everyone who's watching to go get the book Regarding Things That Matter by Craig A. Williamson that we have here. Thank you so much for spending time with me. If you get this book and you read it and you don't agree with me, this is one of the best books ever written, reach out to me. I'll refund your money. No question asked. Thank you, Mike King.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we talk about here is how business helps society be better. That's what this program is. We just happen to be on ESPN, but we don't talk sports. Most of the time, we talk about how things can make our global village better. Kofi's taking what he learned standing on the shoulders of giants. He's going out transforming the world. I meet up with the crazy guy in the camel hat, Mike Ashabraner, and here we are. doing this. We got to go. These guys got stuff to do. They can't hang out with me all day. All right, folks, take care. On the mic, Mike, ESPN Richmond. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, now. Take care.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.